Hey, Star Wars fans, JustMeTed1969 here. And hello the rest of YouTube. Tonight we're going to take a look at a bit of a mixed bag. MadWobba made some nice comments on my Goldorak and my Dragon review here earlier on, and I thought just since he seemed interested in what was in my display case, I'd do a review on the case itself and everything in it. So it might be a bit of a long video, so sit back and enjoy the ride here. This is the case itself. I picked it up for $100 a few years ago. It's like an old store case. It's got a few holes drilled in the front that you can hardly see in the video here, but if you know where to look, you can find them. It's about 6 feet long, 4 feet high, a couple of feet deep, and the bottom part underneath has like a storage thing, so I've got some stuff stashed in the back, but you can't really get at it easily right now. So I've got probably too much stuff in there. I've got my comic books all in the front, and they're not really well stored either, but what can you do? I live in an apartment and you don't have room for everything. So we'll start off going, I guess, top to bottom, left to right. And here I've got some toy trains. These are Marx O-gauge electric trains. They're from the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and some of them are pretty older, rough shape, but they all run. And the blue one is one I've actually been working on restoring. I think I did an okay job on the body, and not sure if that's going to turn out too well or not. So we've got a couple of Star Wars action figures in there, and nothing really in order of importance or anything like that. They're just in there to keep them out of the dust. Here's a Tonka toy, and still has some pretty good action to it, and works pretty good for probably a 40-year-old toy. I don't even remember ever getting this. I think I just always had it. It might have came from my big brother or something like that. Anyway, I got a hold of it, and it's been mine ever since, I guess. Here's a newer Mighty Tonka. I remember getting this I think I was about 7 years old, back in 1976 or so, and it was for reward for being in the hospital for quite a while for one of many operations I had on my feet because I was born club-footed. So a couple of days in the hospital later, I got this as my payoff, I guess. And here's some other Tonkas. These are 1970s old school. It's kind of cool to see them down at their level too. Yeah, you really get an idea of the angles of them. And this guy's got some cool smokestacks coming out of the top here. So yeah, just some neat little Tonka toys there. 70s, whimsical, futuristic design. There's a picture of my dad when he was about 14 or 16 years old, somewhere around there. I think he would have been about 16ish. And that's back in the 1940s. Here's an R2-D2 phone. He was in part of my R2-D2 collection review. In the back we have a Marx train station. If you look on the side of it in the fine print, it says made in US Zone, Germany. So that was probably, I'd say, late 40s, early 50s or so. To date it, here's a Tonka bulldozer. And man, I tell you, you can't get more extreme kids' toys than this. You got sharp metal, the metal edges, and I mean, the thing is just a bulldozer, and it's a workhorse, and it looks like one. It's pretty cool. So that's the top of the shelf. We'll take a look inside, if I can get on my knees and get stable here. So first level, I've got a Battlestar Galactica little set going on. There's a Cylon, that's a radio, and there's the Cylon Raider. The figure's actually sitting inside. In the back there's a thing called Blue Silver. It's just a little bit of a UFO kind of toy, and I don't know what the deal was on it, but it looked pretty cool when I was a kid, and I actually ended up getting it. And of course we have a lot of Star Wars figures. As you can see, there's all different ones. I mostly collect astromechs, and they're very limited in this part of Canada, so not a heck of a lot to have. I can't even see which one that is. That's a Jawa. And then there's some Saga Legends. R2's, Mace Windu, Yoda's in there somewhere. So that's the first level of that. And there's my remote controlled R2-D2. He's in the box, and the picture's upright on the face, but on the bottom end here it's upside down, so you can't have everything perfect. There's an R2 and Power of the Force astromech in there. That's a Star Wars film projector. It kind of worked like a Viewmaster. You had light shining in the top. There's a crank on the other side, and you would basically crank it, and about a 1 minute long version of the movie would play. A friend of mine said that when the zombie apocalypse comes, I'll be the only one that'll still have Star Wars, because I'll have one of those to play it with. And in the back of it there was actually a couple of, I think, different cassettes with different versions of the movie or the interpretation of it. There's Darth Vader's TIE Fighter, and that's sitting on my case of action figures. They're not in great shape. I played with them heavily when I was a kid. They're worth more as memories to me than any kind of monetary value. It's a little old land speeder missing the windshield, but still there. And there's a couple of more R2-D2 figures there. And we'll go down on this end and start on the bottom layer here. In the back is something signed by a guy called the Yoda Guy. And one of my nieces got that for me on a trip she was on. I have some artwork from Empire Strikes Back, Ralph McQuarrie artwork. They're nice prints, very easy to frame if one wanted to do that. I've always kept them in the box. I don't think they're worth a heck of a lot, but they're nice, and they're worth something to me. And we've got original X-Wing fighter toy, and that's sitting in there. And we've got a little bit of droid action going on. There's Tarful, a power droid, a couple of R2s, and an R5-D4. That's an original R5-D4 from about 78 or 80 or whenever they released them. That there's my Dukes of Hazzard custom astromech. I've got a separate review on that. There's a fossil I picked up somewhere along the way, and a couple of other interesting rocks with some pyrite flecks in them. And there's a Darth Vader, and his lightsaber had to be put together by a piece of sticky tack because some of the cats that I had over the years decided to take a chew at it. And we've got a couple of troopers here. So what else have we got? There's a Pepsi can, R2-D2 on it, another part of my collection, and then behind that is the widescreen VHS edition of the original trilogy. Model of C-3PO from the 70s, and there's a R2-D2 toy Phantom Menace era. And next we've got 12-inch figures, Luke Skywalker and a Cylon Centurion. I kind of added a little bit extra tinfoil to them when I was a kid. Probably not shiny enough for me. I have a very severe distraction to shiny things. So yeah, these were the Cylon guys. They were made, forget the name of the original toy they were molded on, but him and the Colonial Warrior kind of look the same with the black body wise, and the Colonial Warrior just had a different head, and then they trimmed out the Cylon guy with the silver and chrome. I think it was Colonel Matt Mason or something, which was kind of a 60s toy, a little bit before my time, but still pretty cool idea, and they were pretty fun at the time. I remember it was a nice Christmas gift from my brother. So Luke is a 12-inch figure. He's still got his hook. He's still got his lightsaber. I had lost that forever, and we were going through some boxes at my mom's house one day, and I actually found it in an old board game of some kind or another. So that was a nice find to complete the figure again. So he's back up and into full gear. And behind him are just a couple of other action figures. I can see some R2-D2s. I can see big Starklighter in there. Next we've got Macross VF-1S in the full complement scene in one of the final episodes where the Great War occurred between the Earth forces and the Zentradi, and they all got wiped out, almost completely exterminated. Sitting near there, we've got some G.I. Joe Adventure Team. These are probably one of my staple toys when I was a kid. I didn't have these from when I was a child. I got these off of eBay a few years ago. Talking Commander guy was pretty cool, and yeah, they still work, and I was pretty happy to have them. This is just a wall climbing robot I picked up a few years ago at a yard sale or a flea market or something, but I thought he looked kind of cool next to the Macross fighter. So we've got G.I. Joe here. A few different versions of him, the red-haired guy, the black-haired guy, the blonde guy. And that's all there. In behind is the Battlestar Galactica DVD set, and that's in the Cylon case. And then we have Goldorak, which MadWobba seemed interested in, so we'll spend a little time looking at him. Vinyl figure, basically the same as the Shogun Warrior 12-inch figures, except he didn't have the roller skate feet, and didn't really have any spring action either. The only thing that would work with him was the axe shoulder blades came off, and you could actually put them in little holes in his fists, and you could either have like a Darth Maul style two-ended axe, or you could have an axe in each fist. So that was him, and I think his head turned, his arms rotated at the shoulders, and his legs probably turned slightly. But that was something I got in the late 70s, or maybe 1980 or 81, back home in Campbellton, New Brunswick, here in Canada. And Goldorak was the big thing. They call him UFO Robot Grendizer most other places, but I think in Canada, Eastern Canada, and Europe, he was Goldorak, depending on who was doing the airplay at the time of the show. And just a couple of littler Shogun Warrior figures. These were the 3.5-inch metal figures, die cast with plastic arms, plastic legs. I had a little dragon like that too, but he kind of got broken apart over the years, and probably some of the pieces went missing. And I guess overall that is pretty much my display case. So I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I hope you had a great time looking at it, as I have a great time looking at my video or my display case pretty much every night when I come in and sit down. This is right across from my couch. I don't bother with TV. I just sit here and look at these things to inspire me. So I hope you all have a great summer. What's left of it. Looks like we got about another month or so left. Right now really hot in this part of Canada. Well, 80s Fahrenheit, which is what we consider really hot. I know it gets hotter in different parts of the world. So that's the display case, and I'll sign off from here and say may the force be with you.